The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2022 Tour Championship, the final leg, the FedEx Cup playoffs, final golf betting show of the year. Well, actually, that's not true. We have the President's Cup. We'll be talking about that. The DraftKings shows aren't going anywhere. We'll have all of those throughout the swing season. If you want more golf, Euro Tour picks and bets, and fantasy golf degenerates, all up on Mayo Media Network. So what you should do is subscribe to Mayo Media Network. That would only be sensible. Smash like to the episode, and the Listeners League is not available for golf this week, but the Week 1 NFL Listeners League is open, so hit the description and or comment section and go join it now. I think there's 2,000 spots gone, so it's 40% full, and we're still 2 weeks out from football. It's rake-free, same as the golf, so go get your spot right now. Reserve that or fill out your lineup. I don't care what you do. Just join the contest, all right? Geoff Fienberg on the line with me. I win one and done. You beat Cust, although Cust had a good week with Xander. You still beat him anyway. I won by over $1 million. Better luck next year.
Yeah, it's just not I can't even win a 3-person contest. And all week, people are chirping me, gumming, my DMs are open. And they're not open to ask me who you should take in one and done. Let alone, if you're in a position to have won money last week, I haven't made a one and done pick since March in real one and dones. The only one I was essentially in is a 3-man with you and Tim. I can't even win that. So I suck at it. No one ever needs to ask me who they should pick. Congratulations, Pat. I owe you $200 now because I still owe you from a bet we made in the season. So, yeah. I owe Paul $100 too. I haven't forgotten.
Well, and you owe me $100 from one and done last
year. I haven't paid,
I
guess, but I haven't forgotten. So you could take that any way you want.
Well, that means the season-long race is over. You did win that against all of us, which I will owe you $100 for, so we'll call it a wash. How about that?
Sure. What did I win?
You won the draft. You had Scheffler and whoever. You won by like $20 million.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, Scheffler, Xander, even Adam Scott, Lowry. I had a really good team. I had a good team.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for those of us who drafted guys who went to the Live Tour. That didn't really work out in our favor, I think.
You would have needed their signing bonuses to catch the train I put on there. But yeah, that added an element to it, which really does suck. And I would say, just quickly off the top of my head, it seems like to have number 1 pick next year would not be great. You're probably better off having the 5th or 4th pick. Let other people make a decision. We'll see. That's something maybe we're doing a recap show soon, and we'll give some of those thoughts, I guess, coming up as well, but not here probably.
Well, let's talk about the week. 3 weeks ago, I talked about all my gambling losses on golf for the season, and then all of a sudden, Geoff, 3 weeks later, guess what I am? Out of the hole! Hit winners on the Euro Tour last week. I was set up for such a big day. I was telling you about it. I needed either Neiman or Morikawa to come inside the top 5. Obviously, that did not happen. But Austin Cook ended up with his split of the 75-1 on the Corn Ferry Tour. But I had all these each-way doubles, they were beyond each-way doubles. They were the winner doubles as well. If Austin Cook just could have won, it would have been a very, I'd be profitable through next year. It would have been great.
Oh. Congrats. That was a big morning score in Europe and heartbreak for others, but what do you care?
Hey, you know what? I was, Baroff and I were going back to back with it the entire time because that's mainly what I watched on Sunday because I was up early with the kids, just turned on some Euro Tour golf live from Prague and, killed 5 hours off my day. But I really wanted Gavin Green to win. I wanted everyone to win. I just happened to be the fortunate one, the only person out there who had Max Keifer, who, shout out to Ben Raza. He's Mr. Max Keifer, didn't bet him, took the curse off of him, and then all of a sudden I can profit off of him.
Congratulations. I think in a nutshell, golf betting, you catch a little wagon, everything comes through for you. So that is awesome. Shout out to all the fans of ours who watched the show last week. Watch me put all the air I possibly could in Patrick Cantley's tires and then decide that I didn't want to bet him and pivot to John Rahm instead while swallowing the point. So congrats on that. And I don't know, my boy Dietrich almost made a run on Corn Ferry, but other than that, not profitable for me. No. no, no, no.
When it got to the playoff, because it was this like Beyonce's husband guy, Ben Knowles, never heard of him. He was like just killing my week all week on the Corn Ferry Tour. The guy couldn't miss. And then obviously, come Sunday, guy we've never heard of falls back to the pack, ends up getting into the playoff. And I didn't even know Will Gordon was in that tournament. And Will Gordon's always going to hold a special place in my heart, mainly because of that like weird 3-week run that he went on like 3 years ago. And apparently he's back and he's going to be on the PGA Tour again next year. So we can lose money on Will Gordon.
Shout out to all those guys. Scott Harrington, back.
Harrington. Well, we got Dietrich. I think Burmeister got his card.
Dietrich's just take my money now. He can't even win in Europe, and I'm gonna bet him to win on the PGA Tour. But there's some like the Cam Champ courses probably gonna be all over Dietrich, Pat. All over. I don't know what that Cam Champ swing season course is, but I hope my boy Dietrich's playing. Dietrich. Maybe I'm even botching it. I'm going to waste money on you either way.
I think that's going to be a pretty common theme for most people, losing money on Dietrich.
Oh, but I've been doing it a lot longer than them. So, ha.
That's not great. Did you watch much of the BMW? Because frankly, I didn't. It's so weird. And I mean, we'll talk about this in a minute, like with this new like proposed super schedule or whatever it might be, that are essentially just WGC events with all the best players. But I don't know. There's just something. Maybe it's because Cantlay was in the lead, and someone who's I guess more eloquent than myself put it that rooting for Patrick Cantlay is like rooting for your bank manager to do something. Like he's not fun TV, and the guy's great. I'm not going to take anything away from Patrick Cantlay. He went out there, put it on everyone. The nice 2-putt that I thought was going in at the end. I made it home in time to watch the end, but like, I like the course too. It just maybe it's because my guys fell out of it, but I had 2 guys who were like potentially there in the beginning. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't a fun watch.
Well, last week the word was just boring course. Hit it long, hit it straight. Patrick Cantlay. I mean, to your point, Pat. There are filing cabinets with more personality than Patrick Cantlay. So, I don't know. But had I had money on him, I probably would have watched. That being said, I think I golfed Friday. I think I golfed Saturday. Was out on Sunday. I made very little effort to watch any of it, to be perfectly honest. By the time I watched the last hour on Sunday, like I knew nothing about I didn't know where trouble was. I didn't know where was good, where was bad. Obviously, we'd never been there before, so there was that. But watching Sunday afternoon, it was like I was watching it for the first time. Because if you know me, I'm not a Thursday watcher tracker because I'll be all consumed. I cannot be all consumed on Thursday over a missed 6-footer. You've worked 12 feet beside me. It's not fun. So I don't even like when people talk to me about it on Thursday. At the end of Thursday, mid-Thursday, I like to give a scroll. By Friday through Sunday, I'm usually all in. I don't know. Summer, it's August. I lost last summer with my leg. But I guess in the purposes of like full transparency, if I had money on any of those guys at the top, I probably would have found a way to certainly watch Ollie yesterday.
I gotta be honest with you. Sweating Euro is not fun because literally anyone can come from anywhere on the leaderboard. And there was a 3-minute stretch during that Czech event where I think the top 6 guys on the leaderboard all had their worst shot of the day. Like the guy with the stupid cussed hat, the Finnish dude, Pete Tipio, or whatever the hell his name was. Yeah. He took out like a 5-iron on.
Is it a cussed hat or is it like a fedora? It's worse, right?
I mean, anything that has like a beyond a regular hat brim, I'm going to just call a cussed hat just because I'm just like, who is this idiot? But I mean, I guess if I had money on him, then it would have been different. Then I probably would have been rooting for him. But he took out a 5-iron on the final hole to like lay up and play it safe, like duck hooked it into a pond. It was like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine having money on this guy.
We had a 2-week run on the PGA Tour, like the Thomas PGA and then that Sam Burns crazy Sunday. That's pretty much every Sunday on the Euro Tour for the most part is crazy. PGA, we get some fun, but it rarely gets like super crazy, especially in the events with the really good players, because there's not a way that like all of Scheffler, Xander, Cantlay are gonna fall back to make it like where the 10s are in play. So one of the good players is going to play really well, and that's what I guess happened again. Scott Stallings would have been crazy to me. Crazy. I'd have been, if I had money on Cantley and I got outgot by Scott Stallings, that's the stuff that would have makes me like sick.
Well,
so
we have two sets of odds. We have two sets of odds to deal with this week. We have the with the starting strokes and without the starting strokes. And I think Stallings is in play for best non-starting position score because, he might come T8 but have the best. I feel like, this will be some of the strategy for East like that. The loser who you don't expect to do anything but comes in the best possible form usually shows up at Eastlake.
Yeah, I feel like we've even won money on Fina without starting strokes. It's a weird thing because in a perfect world without starting strokes, I'd be silly enough to want to bet John Rahm again, but I don't know what the motivation, like they don't care without the starting strokes. So it's like this weird dichotomy of, what do you get when a guy who's going for the first place has really no chance to win, but he's leading that element. It's a total unknown. So I don't know. This one's hard. I almost like to just bet it live and try to find a good spot. Like try to be when I'm watching it. And some of the sites, they'll let you know a guy made a birdie before TV or even the odds board and be like, okay, that seems fair. I just don't know how to bet this. I don't know how to bet this. I'm degenerate enough to bet it. I honestly don't know how or what I'm supposed to do.
DraftKings this week is tough too. Tambo and Kenny are going to be talking about it on Fantasy Golf Degenerates tonight, Monday evening on Mayo Media Network. So tune into that because I'm not doing a DraftKings show this week. I usually don't even play draft. I do end up playing lineups because I'm me and I can't not do it. It's just like I'm going to bet on this somehow, but we need to find the right spot. Maybe we'll talk about some Euro because I have a Euro bet in already too for the really cool one. This is like one of my favorite Euro courses. That's like the Omega Swiss Masters. It's like really high up in the Alps. It was that one that had, I think, like the 7-person playoff a few years ago. That Max Soderberg one, or whatever the hell that guy's name is. Do you remember this at all?
I'm trying.
Rory,
but I'm not gonna fake it.
Rory and Fitz were in the playoff. It was just a gigantic playoff.
Oh, Swiss Alps sounds beautiful.
It is. It's a very scenic course. Before we do get into Eastlake, I want to talk about President's Cup because the international team wrapped up their 8 lock spots. But before we do that, do you know who Bob Weeks is by chance?
Yeah, of course I do.
So most Canadians know who Bob Weeks is. He's like the main golf guy in Canada, and he has been for, 300 years or something like that. Since the invention of golf, Bob Weeks has been the man on the scene. So he has two tweets yesterday, very heavily liked, and one of them is just hilarious. So one is, if I'm Trevor Immelman, I'd be taking a serious look at Taylor Pendrith as a captain's pick. He's been 13th or better in 5 of his last 6 starts since returning from missing 4 months with injury. I don't hate that take. That's not a terrible take. Here's a terrible take. Clutch Connors, that's apparently his nickname, has locked up his spot for Eastlake as well as being on the international team for the President's Cup, both on his list of goals. How do you feel about the nickname Clutch Connors for Corey Connors, who can't make a 2-foot putt?
No, I don't like he's clutch in the sense that he made a lot of clutch in the specific sense that he played really well down the stretch, knowing he needed to play well down the stretch to make Eastlake, or he's a known clutch player. I want to give Weeksy the benefit. Weeksy, that's like Canadian locker room.
Yeah, is he your boy, Weeksy? 75-year-old Weeksy?
No, that's a bad take. But my hot take on my BetSport show, and that wouldn't even be a hot take in our orbit, was that Monday morning, Taylor Pendrith is going to get captain's pick hype. Like, that's going to be a thing on Monday morning. If Taylor Pendrith wasn't hurt this year, probably at Eastlake. Maybe that's, it would have been on the fringes. But, Corey Connors is not clutch, but Azinger said he was one of the best putters on the Sunday of a major championship. So just shows you that you know more than these guys.
Yeah, well, it's tough. It's tough to really get all your golf research in when really you're just scouting the vineyards next to the course.
I guess so.
That was always my favorite take from one of our favorite people.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I remember commercial slash infomercial slash content piece you're speaking of
So
at the moment.
Here are the guys that are automatically qualified for the President's Cup team in descending or in chronological order. Descending order? Anyway, number 1, Cameron Smith, Hideki Sungjae Neiman. Tom Kim comes in at number 5. Just what a summer for Tom Kim. Connors, Adam Scott, and Mito are all the locks for the team. That means there's 4 captain's picks to go for the international side. And they lost all the live guys, so they can't play in it. So there's no Louis, no Henny Duplessis, or whoever else left. Who do you think are going to be the 4? Because I feel like KH Lee is probably automatically on the team now.
Yeah, if you made Eastlake,
You're on the team.
Trevor Immelman is not in a position to not take you. Like, he doesn't. If you made Eastlake, you're an auto for that team. There's no options that can go beyond that. It almost got to the point last year, Pat, from a Ryder Cup perspective. I made the comment, if you made Eastlake, you're almost, that team's not deep enough to not take you in that current status of the back end of Euro Ryder Cup golf. And I think Sergio made Eastlake, and that was all part of that. And I'd say he wouldn't have made the team. Trevor Immelman's in a position to take a guy who didn't make Eastlake. No chance. He's like in. It's as locked as anything.
So he's in for sure. Let's say. Who else are we going with here? Pendrith? Bezadenhout? Hadwin?
Unfortunately, me and you seem like we all agree in Pendrith, but the fact of the matter is, I don't have the confidence. To me, like Trevor Immelman is more likely to take, as we've spoken, Hadwin or Hughes as that extra Canadian, as opposed to Pendrith, who I believe course fit is perfect. And on that note, did you think Adam Scott was going to get up and down on 18? Because there was a moment where I was like, this is going to be the last. This was about to be Adam Scott's farewell to the PGA Tour. But he hit that bunker shot to 2 feet. And Adam Scott gets 4 more rounds on the PGA Tour, highly compensated.
Well, and that means you can lose money on him again this week.
I didn't bet him last week. So my peace of mind was not good. But it was only Thursday, and I knew he would screw it up. And I don't want to say screw it up. He played great. He's playing really good. When we made the predictions at fall, like, give a veteran who's going to just give a resurgence, he was my pick. And I think that was right, despite not winning anything.
Do you think Immelman will do something like really stupid? For example, take Jason Day on this team?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Jason Day's like dead fish territory. Dead fish.
He's won at Quail Hollow.
I don't care. He would get. Can I interrupt this to say?
Sure.
I've laid the wood, Pat. We're inside the month. I've laid the wood. Now, the best number I could get is on a book that wouldn't take enough money, so I ignored it. That was like a minus 306, but they'd only let me win like $100.
Minus 330 at DraftKings Sportsbook right now.
Minus 330 at DraftKings. Heavy for me. And then I've gone post-up. Dangerous, responsibly. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Like the stonks. But I've responsibly put in huge. I will be disappeared. I will be disappearing. Responsibly disappearing on it's what, the 19th to 22nd? I will have disappeared on the evening of the 22nd if somehow there's a tie or this international team where Tom Kim's their 5th best player beats that team. And it's a team of friends. They're all just going to go as friends and whip some ass. And Will Zalatoris, people are like freaking out about FedEx Cup. I shouldn't have to freak out, but I'm nervous. Like my heart was like President's Cup. I don't want to lose Will for the President's Cup because I love
Will's not even qualified for the team. That's how good the American team is.
Okay, well, I don't want to lose him because I love we have the best friends aspect, the Xander Cantleys, the Smith, the Spieths and Thomas part of it. But it's the young players who would get to play their first internationals who would be so fired up to kick ass, like your Burns, like your Willies. So yeah, like if you can afford it, how can you look at this and say it's inside a month? It's minus 350 is a high, but man, sorry, that's my rant. Just do it responsibly. Do it responsibly. You are going, everyone loses so much money on week 3 in the NFL because they think they know things, like they've seen 2 weeks. So it's like, oh, I know what they are, and I know what they are, and I know what they aren't. And then boom goes the dynamite in week 3. We have like some crazy shit. You'll win all that money back. And more. You need a new washer dryer? USA.
Here's the team, and I actually don't know when the American team locks. It might be locked now, but here's the top 6, and it's only 6 auto qualifiers for the President's Cup and 6 captain spots. Scheffler, Cantlay, Xander, Burns, Thomas, Finau are your top 6. There's a lot of good names not on that list.
It's incredible. Are they only 6 and the rest is captains? How are they not locked?
I
guess
know.
East Lake because the U.S. is so deep. East Lake matters.
I guess so.
Yeah,
it might be locked. I don't know. I know the President's Cup team the international side is locked. I don't know if the U.S. is, but those are the top 6 who auto qualify at the moment.
And I want to say I make my rant and I've laid my bet. Like I don't even care if I'm expecting Cam Smith and Hideki to play. I'm expecting them to play. I still think it's like minus 450 by the time they start. And if they don't play, it's minus like a gajillion. But Cam Smith would have to pull a John Rahm. And if he does it, they still won't win. And by that, I mean go 4-0-1. When he's just gotten $120 million. Like, impossible. Impossible. I don't want I'm not just some genius touting some minus 320, minus 330, minus 350. I just mean we're inside a month. And if you got the wherewithal, you can eat it and you need to do it.
So what you're saying is that this should be priced at like minus 700.
Yeah. On home soil, the only time they sniff the underwear is when they've got to travel to Australia or Korea. Let alone live. They're not in a position. They're not in a position to have lost Answer or Louis. Like they're not. And even with Answer and Louis, I'd make the bet. But they're not deep enough. They're not good enough. And it's at Quail Hollow. And the propaganda, they're so like, grah, grah, grah. I mean, like the USA golf, like they're not. It's not like the guys are going to give 180%. The best players in the world are going to play at 180%. They're not going to want to embarrass themselves. And they're not going to want to watch those Scott and Hideki and Cam Smith beat their ass and go to the new tour either. Are we sure Scott's going? Because it turned out he was in that like high-end players meeting. Now, Ricky was there too. I think Cam Smith was in that meeting. Scott was in that meeting? Yeah, that was reported this morning. I'm real surprised about that because every report has it seem like they have an Australian team like in. And Scott seems like it's in it. His burner / used to be him, never was him, is still him, Twitter account is as pro-live as anything on earth, or as any of those of the accounts. And that's cool. But that with the net, like it seemed like they're playing 2 events in Australia. Not even like he lives in Australia. Doesn't he live in like Albany or Bahamas? I know him and Rose both live in like paradise. Put it that way. Different locations, but both paradise. Yeah, I'm fully expecting Scott to go. I'm expecting Scott to go more than Hideki. I feel like that feels more safer. But to hear he was in that meeting is weird. Yeah. When we do the recap next week, we'll talk more about the schedule because there's more stuff coming out this week, apparently, about
single one-on-one showdowns that Tiger was super for, and so was Rory, and then they're like not disclosing details about what's going to happen, but it's going to happen between January and March. So let's just let that play out. But this idea of running like 15 WGC events a year sounds absolutely terrible.
Horrible. We're just the losers. However this shakes out, we're going to lose. We'll remember the era we had where it was a lot of fun. Yeah, that sounds horrible. I'm this anti-change guy. I've said it many times. Spoiled North American sports fan. Best should play with the best. That's just, I'm spoiled like that. And I don't like when a website changes that I like. So you think I'm going to like when there's changes to a tour that I love? No, I don't react to things well. And this news, I don't know. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. I don't know. We lose. That's all I know. That's the one guarantee in all of it. We will lose. Like, we lose. We lose.
Are you sure? Sure we're not winning? Or are we losing?
I'm pretty sure we're losing. Now, maybe we'll win bets, but like the golf, whatever's happening is not good for us, I don't think. But who knows? Running 42 weeks a year, I didn't think was good for us either. So I don't have really an answer, but nothing feels kosher anymore.
Let's move on to Eastlake, the final leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This is it. There's 30 players in the field, maybe, because we don't know about Cam Smith and his hip injury, whether or not he is going to play. But he would be starting pretty high up. He would be starting at, where are you at, Cam Smith? Cam Smith would be T6, so he'd start -4, 6 strokes back of Scotty Scheffler, who earned the 1 seed and starts at -10. And then Will Zalatoris, that was like the one thing I was watching. I was on Friday or Saturday, was Will Zalatoris, like 35 minutes of watching him stretch on TV. And poor Griot, who was in the group with him, was just like, I guess I'm just going to stand here and watch this happen. So he ended up pulling out. So I don't know if he's going to play or not, but he's currently 3rd in the FedEx Cup. So he only starts 3 strokes back. You know, when there's $40 million on the line, he might try to push through this to see if he can loosen up those hips. I recommend getting a lacrosse ball. Yeah, you can hit your trigger points, loosen everything up. It's worked for me in the past. I don't know how severe his hip injury is. Maybe get one of those like shock wave treatments, really get the sound waves in there to break up all the fascia. Anyway, this is what my physiotherapist tells me. But I don't know how bad this is. He's a young guy. Hopefully he's going to be okay because he'd be starting pretty high up. The starting positions are Scheffler -10, Cantlay -8, Zalatoris -7, Xander -6, Burns -5. Then it's the rest of everyone all the way down to Aaron Wise and Adam Scott and KH Lee, Poston, and Thigala. Shout out Thigala getting himself into the Masters by qualifying for this.
Awesome.
They all start at even par, so 10 strokes back. So there's 2 different ways that you can approach the betting this week. You can bet with the scores in place and people have to catch up, or you can bet without strokes, which could be, I mean, last year I think Na and Rahm ended up tying for the lead in that, and Cantlay won the overall, but Cantlay came in with the lead, so he ended up winning the FedEx Cup. So it's kind of complicated to go through. I like your rant on this. I'm not going to lie about how golf fans are stupider than NASCAR fans because they can't figure this out. And color me into that same position because it's not that I get very confused. It's I always forget what I'm looking at when I'm actually watching the tournament live.
Yeah, I don't know. It's what here's the thing. I rant about the event, but once it starts and come Sunday, like the complaints kind of go out the window, and I do kind of see it from their perspective. Because like the betting board sucks. It's really annoying and confusing. Thursday seems like it's made up. Friday, we're already still living off the staggering. Come Sunday, when when my dad sits down to watch on Saturday, on Sunday, it's going to be like 5 great players at the top. And he won't care how it started. He's now going to see a leaderboard that has 5 great players, maybe separated by 4 strokes. You hope it doesn't turn into a runaway with the guy starting. So by the time we get to when it actually matters, it does feel like we're naturally in an event. But for the purposes of what we do here on Monday, it sucks. And for the purposes of, the rant we did last week, be silly to do it again, but they can have fun with it. They can do a stroke that we can do half and half. As you said, you turn the rest into match play and then make the finals in the day like a weekend and a party and a celebration with matches of all different levels. I'm probably doing a bad job explaining it, but last week I thought I was excited and I did it. Maybe I'll link that rant in the comments below if someone watching this now actually cares.
Before we jump into it, did you watch any of the USAM? I didn't, but I just saw highlights of Sam Bennett all weekend, and I can assure you, once he is a full-time PGA player, he's going to be my favorite player by far, and everyone else is going to hate his guts.
So I noticed this. No, I didn't watch a ton, but I love it. I love when I am watching it. I adore it. In the same way I adored watching the US women's am or junior girls. Like, it's fantastic. And match play is at the heart and soul of golf at every level. It should be at the heart and soul of this week, at least the weekend, in my opinion. That Sam Bennett stuff, it was like Keegan-esque, right? Like, is that what people, he takes a lot of time. The golf guys are real triggered. He takes a lot of time, and then he has this finish is saucy with his
the club twirl is amazing.
The club twirl sauce after the 30 resets is all time. I wouldn't have taken an expert on Pat Mayo to know he's going to be a Pat Mayo guy.
Oh, I hope he's a jerk too. That'll be even better. Just the more people that can hate this guy, just as we've seen throughout the years, the less popular a player is, the better odds that you get on them to win because no one else wants to bet them. So yeah, this guy is all in. Oh, quick aside, I was playing with Cust yesterday, and he's starting to figure it out. He's starting to do a lot better.
Good.
And after hole 5, he told us that he is dripping with he has so much swag, it's dripping off of him as he walked to the 6th tee. And then he made like a quad, and then he hit it into the water to the right on number 7. And when he went to go look for his ball, he stepped in this bush of thorns that got caught on him. And then he was walking around a tree with this fucking giant bush on him, and I had to pick all the prickers out of his back afterwards. He like tripled that hole too, and he was losing his mind. So I guess the main point of the story is that if you have so much swag and it's dripping off, you want to like put a cup underneath of you or something. You don't want to lose all of that swag because that's not going to be good news for you.
No, and I think the people who actually are capable of having that sort of swag, they don't verbalize it. They just walk with it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't say it, but your walk shows it. But no one like puts that in the ether like that.
They shouldn't.
That makes sense.
When you're a guy who's like struggling to break 100, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Sorry, yeah. If you like know you can repeat what's happening, then maybe you have the right to like make a comment. But yeah. And back to Sam Bennett, Pat, apparently he's super confident. So people will hate him, much like, like when Patrick Reed came on, and despite reasons to actually hate him, if that's what you wanted to do, he triggered people when he said, I believe I'm a top 5 player in the world, when he won at Doral for his first big win. And we know how, Brooks Koepka's confidence goes over at times with many, and including myself. So yeah, Sam Bennett, he's in a wheelhouse, I tell ya. And he was in an event this year, wasn't he?
I have no idea.
A couple of them.
I can assure you I don't remember.
Yeah, I could be, yeah. So
we had, oh, geez. Frog in the throat. But we have our Ryder Cup coming up this weekend. We're going to travel, and Cust is my team captain, which is never great news. But we're like slight favorites to win based on the matchups. But we were on hole number 8 yesterday, and it's like a heavy dog leg left. And Cust has been hitting his driver pretty well, little right to left action on it because he's a lefty. It's a great shot for him. Only when he hits driver. But when he hits his 2-wood, if he doesn't like hit it straight and like okay, it's like a legitimate duck hook to the right out of bounds. And it happens more often than not because he has no idea how to hit this club. So we're sitting there on this giant dog leg to the left, which is his perfect shot shape. And he pulls out 2 wood and duck hooks it right. And I started having this like course, like we're going to a tournament here. Like we need to win this. You can't be making these sorts of decisions. Like what was the impetus to bring out this 2 wood? And he's like, well, if I hit my driver like flush, I'm going to hit it through the fairway. I was like, that's fine, man. That's fine. Hit it through the fairway straight. You have 100 yards in from the rough. If you miss with your other fucking club, your OB 30 yards in front of you, still have to lay up in front of the dog leg and then go for it. He couldn't compute it in his mind. And then he told us on the next hole when he didn't bring out his driver again on the same similar type of shot shape when both me and Butts hit driver and we're fine. And he wouldn't hit it because he's like, well, if I hit it flush, I'm going to hit it out of bounds. I was like, how often do you think you hit your driver flush? And what do you think that he gave us the percentage of him hitting his driver flush was?
80%?
60%. And the rest of the group said it was around 3%. And he just couldn't compute that in his mind.
Straight flush would be straight flush. Yeah.
That never happens for him.
I had a drive this weekend. I put everything I had into it, and the hazard was right in my landing zone. And I caught the cart, like I hit it as far as I can hit it, and there was probably like a 4-foot wide like cart path that I could land in, and I landed there and flew to the other side. And I was so happy.
Gotta have some good golf luck, especially off
so
cart
happy. I was so happy. Because also, like, we see it hit the bridge and we don't know, like, could have gone any way after that. And to see it, like, up on the other side, like, pure, such a feeling. Love. What a lovely game. Man versus man, man versus himself, man versus nature. The best. Yeah, I don't know, Pat. I have no impetus to make a bet. If you want to do it, you take those sardine strokes and you're like, who wants to go banana? Like, you trust a guy to go banana. Rory, John Rahm. Like, if you trust him, I don't think that's horrible.
I actually had one guy that I think is going to make a run. So let's talk about the starting stroke now. I can tell you in a second if you just fucking wait. Jesus Christ.
I'm excited.
Really, for a guy who doesn't want to bet anything, you're super excited?
I'm going to bet. That's the problem. I shouldn't bet.
With starting strokes, Scheffler's plus 260 at DK Sportsbook. Cantlay's plus 330. Xander's 6-1. Zalatoris 10-1. Rory 11-1. Rahm 16-1. Finau and Burns and Thomas all 22. Cam Smith is 28. Then you got Sungjae, Fitzpatrick at 30 and 35. And then there's a massive drop off. The one I'm looking at, and I don't know if I want to do it with the starting strokes or without the starting strokes, but Xander,
both.
Why would I play it with both?
Protect yourself?
What am I protecting against? Like, I want to bet Xander. So if Xander wins the best overall score, then like best starting score, I guess I'm protecting against like Max Homa from the back of the field, theoretically. But I think that Xander is going to come out and light this course up, especially a week after being Anderkirst, coming super close. And he's better odds without the starting strokes because he's like 8-1 or 9-1 instead of 6-1. I think that's going to be my play. But I don't like any of these with the starting strokes, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. And I actually totally agree with that assessment. Xander plays well in form. He's close enough to the top. Just a short number to start with. But yeah, I don't hate that at all. You plug your nose and you kind of just walk away. Yeah, it's a tough spot. The unknowns with Zalatoris and Cam Smith aren't really a factor for me, and I don't know that I trust anybody to really make a move outside a couple people.
Do you think that Zalatoris and Smith, it doesn't matter if they play or not, because if they don't play and you bet them, you're going to get your money back. It's a non-runner. But do you think that they show up, hit a shot to collect? I mean, do they collect their money either way? I guess they do, don't they?
I feel like, would they collect their money if they didn't even play?
I don't know. Then I'm worried, because I do think Cameron Smith, 28-1 with the starting strokes, makes a lot of sense if he's okay.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not really
doesn't sound like it's for you.
No, I honestly don't think. How do I put this? I have not seen anybody have success in the short period of time from which they get like $125 million.
Well,
Cam Smith will like find it again, but I think if we're in that hot pocket, I don't know. I don't see full wagon. I don't even know it's possible. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion.
if you're looking, if you're looking back at the like winners of this since they changed the scoring rules, Rory, Dustin, and Cantlay have all won. I spelled Cantlay wrong. I spelled it Cantlay, like he's Italian or something. But no, Cantlay, Dustin, Rory, and beyond that, Tiger, Xander, Rory, Spieth, Horschel, Stenson, Snedeker, and Haas. So we've had some pretty top end winners here over the, except for like Horschel, Snedeker, and Haas. I guess would be on a tier below all of the other.
We almost
what?
Sorry, saying we almost had Ryan Moore. He just couldn't. Rory got so hot to finish. And then it was a multi-hole playoff. And then Rory hit a big putt that was, in commercials for 3 years.
Cool story. So
I had money on Moops. That's all. Sorry. I'm looking at a board. I'm not looking at your face, so I can't see it. I'll go look at it right now if you want to keep it. But maybe I don't.
Guess.
I don't like looking at my. I don't want to see it.
All right. Without starting strokes, Cantlay, Xander, and Rory are all the favorites at 8. Rahm's 9. Scheffler's 10. So do you hold Scheffler's lead against him? Because I feel like that shouldn't factor into it at all. Like if he's going to win with the strokes, he's probably going to win without the strokes too, isn't he? He has a 2-shot lead.
Agreed.
Cantlay didn't last year, but it took a pretty heroic effort from non-Rahm. I think Cantlay was 3rd.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for you. We get this perception that like Scheffler is contending, or at least in not following or watching the golf, the perception I got from the internet was Scheffler was once again doing all of this with not his best game. Like he finished where he finished, but not even close to his best game. Like would the stats show that as well?
I can look that up for you right now. FantasyNational.com/Mayo. Get yourself the discount. 20% off on Fantasy National. Let's see what from watching it, like just my eye test, I would agree with you from what I saw from Scheffler that he just kind of lurked all week and he went on a little run for a bit and that was kind of it. Then he didn't have his best stuff. A lot like what we've seen from him essentially since the Masters. But to look at it on paper, gained 2.5 strokes off the tee, gained over 5 on approach, gained a stroke putting. I mean, it's nice to see him gain a stroke putting because he's been so miserable.
He's
on
so good.
Lately.
He's so good. His like B game to the eye doesn't feel like it's good enough. When the stats show it's still really good, if that makes any sense. Like our expectation is so high that even when the stats show he played great, it doesn't feel like it's that great.
I would agree. So the one bet that I've put down so far on the Tour Championship is without strokes, I bet Scott Stallings at 70-1 with the top 5, with top 4 each way. I'm riding this train. If you like some of those names, and you mentioned Ryan Moore, so it was a good story. You have Ryan Moore, you have Haas, Snedeker, Billy Horschel, just guys who get hot at this time of year. East Lake is an equalizer course. Yeah, the best guys are going to play well, but even crappy guys can play pretty well at this course too.
Absolutely. I love the Scott Stallings thing. And I don't know, like there's a category for it, but he wins most improved. I don't know what you call, like what a great season for Scott Stallings. I'm so happy for him. And he's played well, Pat. He's played well so many times where we don't have to hear about his body for 3 hours when he is playing well, because it's not like they've already done it, the broadcast in the booth, because it's just he's been on TV so much in the last few months. I'm not here for the bet though, but I see it. Like I love the story. I love that he's winning the bag. I love that he's making his first Tour Championship. I love all of it. I'm not here to bet on the guy. I guess I could have done this in my own research, but my question is to the three guys that have won in this format. You mentioned their names, but where were they at the start? If you don't mind me asking.
Do you think I had this shit memorized?
No, you just had it up though, and I didn't know if you had,
I didn't
just
have
went
it.
through
I didn't have it up. I just referenced my column of who the winners were. Cantlay was leading last year. That I know. And Dustin was leading the year that he went in.
Rory couldn't have been far because he got real hot there. Yeah, so it just shows you can't really go that far. That's why I guess to your point on the Xander bet, he's like of that talent level and pedigree, and the number isn't like stupid low, and it feels okay, right? And you don't need a crazy week to get right back into it.
Yeah. Stallings.
Sorry, I just was
curious. Yeah, you're just thinking out loud. I get that. Stallings is 90-1 at DraftKings Sportsbook for the without strokes, and he starts at -3, so he could play the best and still come like 8th or something like that. So just take a shot on him down the board. I'm thinking about Cam Smith with the starting strokes if he's just okay, makes a comeback because I like this course for him. I think I'm just going to dump on Xander at 8-1. I think that's going to be my move, just without starting strokes.
I don't think that's a bad move at all.
Okay.
I don't really trust anyone outside the top, 6 guys to win with the starting stroke scenario.
Anything else on
history? History tells me you could probably take that 6 could be too many.
But you don't even know the history. You just asked me.
You told me.
I told you the last 2.
There have only been 3.
That's true.
And I'm going to assume Rory didn't like wagon from the pack because he was hot and he was player of the year. And I don't think he was, I don't think he had to make too big of a charge. I mean, I guess I could go research it, but I'm going to just allow myself to believe Rory was in the top 4 in it. 5.
Rory beat Xander. Where did he start? 4 under. Oh, to better Masters co-runner-up, Xander Schauffele. Okay. I'm doing the research live on air. This is just exciting news.
Well, they give us a stupid tournament and we record it, 9 on a Monday. It's where I am.
I mean, if you had the question, you could have looked it up.
I didn't have the question.
It just came to you? It manifested
as
itself
you read
within
the past winners. As you read out the past winners, I felt the context around the 3 on this format is different than the previous. So, I don't. Sorry, I'm so. I do. I apologize.
Thank you. That's all. Oh God, what?
If Zalatoris or Cam Smith don't play, guys don't move up and get their better starting stroke positions, do they? They just disappear?
I believe they just disappear, yes. Because they're locked into that FedEx Cup placement.
Okay. That was okay. Sorry for more research questions.
No problem. That one I know. That one I have a beat on. So anything else from this? Like have you figured out a bet yet, or are you gonna wait for later in the week?
I haven't figured out a bet, but I do see myself. I just want to go back to it. The no starting strokes. I do see myself with the no starting strokes betting Victor Hovland.
Because it's a tournament that starts on a Thursday?
Because the stroke, it's nice little Sunday finish for him. I think he could go super low. It's close to 30-1. Starting strokes don't count. I just worry with the players, with certain other players that not to say Hovland would even be paying attention. I just don't like betting a Rahm or a Rory where the starting strokes don't count, where their only intention is to win the FedEx Cup. Yeah. I that might sound weird, but Hovland's just gonna smile and play 72 holes.
Okay. I would agree with you on that.
They're all going to play 72 holes. Not all of them are going to smile. And there's nothing sophisticated about this breakdown.
I mean, if Morikawa just packed in his day after he hit the first one in the water when he made the 10, like that was just it. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to win this week. I don't really care anymore. On paper, this is a great course for him.
Even Sungjae on Bermuda, Sungjae, Morikawa, Hovland, those would be the guys I think I could be looking at without the starting strokes.
Yeah, Sungjae's a good one. I might be able to convince myself on Sungjae.
The starting strokes do not count. Yeah, that is I am looking at Hovland, Sungjae, Morikawa, and maybe even Sam Burns in that one.
Do you have any hot takes on the Omega European Masters? Because I bet Danny Van Tonder at 100-1. Why? Well, he played well last week, and he's played well here before. That's the dart that I'm going with until I hear from Tom and Sky. But this field's not bad. It has both Hogards, Thirsty Lawrence is in here, Crocker, McIntyre, Fox, Moronk, our guy, the Polish Giraffe,
Wallace.
Danny Willett's 35-1. Fake Johnny Manziel, who can't putt from 2 feet, is 35-1. Arnaus is playing. Rosner actually played really well last week and could not make a putt to save his life. He's 40-1. I may get there on Rosner this week, the Frenchman.
Yeah, DVT. I want to bet on him once. He hit some insane putt.
Maybe he can do it again.
Maybe. No, I don't have any hot takes. Bobby Mack, off a little layoff. Mack, Hogard, if you like the kids.
Yeah, one of the Hogards won last year. Rasmus Hogard won this event last year, -13. And then it was in a playoff the 4 years beforehand. There was the 5-person playoff. Fitz won back-to-back years. And Scott Hend from Australia finished second back-to-back years. But it's been like outside of Sebastian Soderberg, who won that giant playoff that Rory was in. It wasn't Fitz. Rory was in it. It's been like legit players that we know that have won this tournament. Like Hogard won. Fitz won twice. Noren, Willett, Lipsky. Thomas Bjorn has won this twice. Jimenez. Noren's actually won it twice. Sergio has won it. Ernie has won it. So like if you're a good player, the problem I guess is that there's no like real good players in this field.
I mean, Ryan Fox has been playing good, but
if he wins, he's on the President's Cup team.
I think he already is on, but you never know. You never know how that'll play itself out.
All right, let's wrap this up. Before you cut me off again.
Okay, let's wrap it up. But have you heard that Monday could be a Black Monday? Because there's a report that 7 guys are going to go to live on Monday. I don't mean an actual Black Monday. But like it does feel like outside of the President's Cup, once this one ends, that is the space where we get some big defections.
So the live guys after the FedEx Cup or after the President's Cup?
Well, that's the thing. I do expect. I'm naive enough to think Cam will play, despite there being a live event between this week and the President's Cup. But I would think that there'll probably be an announcement on Monday of a few guys. I would think, but you never know. See how powerful Tiger is.
Well, the way that they covered him, like just even to read some of the stories from this morning, Tiger left his house and got on his private jet to come up to this meeting. They treat him like he's the fucking Pope. It was kind of crazy. Like here's the tracker of him in the air going to a meeting.
And people are so like, when extremely wealthy people wear just like an everyman shirt, like people get really weirded out by that, eh?
Like when he drove in his Nissan or whatever it was, people were like, whoa, why isn't he driving a Lamborghini?
It just looked like like an Eddie Bauer shirt that was probably on a rack 12 years ago. I don't know. I don't know. It was a whole weird scene. But yeah, I don't know. Nissan. Sure. Is that weird?
I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't find that part weird at all. I like that he cares, but obviously his care is probably self-interest because, you know, he doesn't want to see the tournaments he won be less important or meaningless. Yeah, I don't know. Weird times ahead.
I will have all my final picks in the newsletter, which comes out on Wednesday evening. You can sub to that for free down in the description. The Listeners League for Week 1 NFL is down there. RunTheSims.com/Mayo gets you 10% off all of the betting and DFS tools for football season. So I'd highly recommend that you do that. Plus, it's printing right now for preseason projections if you just want to try to dominate preseason on DraftKings or go play some props, whatever it may be. Just the player projections, not even for fantasy points, but for playing time. It's just so important when trying to project out what is happening in the NFL preseason, because good Lord, I don't want to have to do all that research. And as you just saw from Jeff, he doesn't want to do any research, so that's going to be tough on that end. But I will give you a pass on this because we're doing the AFC and NFC win total show over the next 10 days, so I have a feeling people are going to be pretty jazzed up for that.
I have the starting strokes printed out. That was the research. Golf season's over. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for the new season, right?
Yeah.
Or we won't, but the new season will be there. Starts in 2 weeks. Shouldn't, but it will.
At GFienberg17 on Twitter, at the PME on Twitter, sub to Mayo Media Network, smash the like for the episode, and that will do it for us. We'll try to have a recap show next week or the week after for the PGA season, but if we don't, tough luck. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!